Hi, I'm Gary White for Channel 6, Central Kentucky Television, and I'm here with Dr. Tricia Ciccone at Central Kentucky Optometric Associates. Central Kentucky Optometric Associates has offices in Lebanon and Springfield. We're here at the Lebanon office, and we're talking about eye health, and actually May is Healthy Vision Month. So we want to talk a little bit about what that means and how all of our viewers can have healthy vision, right? So if somebody's never been for an eye exam before, what can somebody expect when they first come in for one?
When you come for your eye exam, we are going to give, we're going to start out the exam with just a good history, a good health history, a good history of what kind of activities you do for work and what kind of visual tasks and activities you do for work and what you do for fun. And so we're going to try and meet all of your visual needs, both from a health standpoint. There are many systemic health problems that can reflect in your eyes and cause problems with your eyes. There are also eye problems that can reflect health issues. So we're going to get a really good evaluation and a good history of what's going on with you health-wise. We're going to ask what your medications are, what medications you take. So bring a list of your medications when you come. We're going to ask if you're allergic to any medications or whether you're allergic to latex or bee stings or any allergies at all that you have. We're going to want to know about that. We're going to know about family history, whether there's any health conditions or eye conditions that might run in your family. So we're going to ask those kinds of questions. So bring a good health history with you and a good medication history with you, and think about the things that you do for work and that you do for play, because we're going to try and meet your visual needs for those situations.
So your eyes can reflect issues that exist elsewhere, or they can be kind of a pinpoint to show that something else is existing elsewhere that is an issue.
Yes. And when you're coming for any type of routine eye exam, whether you're an established patient or a new patient, expect to have your pupils dilated when you come. When you have your pupils dilated, it makes the iris get bigger, and it gives us a more panoramic 3D view of the inside of your eye. When your pupil is small and not dilated, we don't get nearly as much light in your eye, and our view is much more limited, and it's very hard to get a good stereoscopic or 3D view of the inside of your eye. So we cannot do as good a health check without dilating your pupil, and standard of care mandates a dilated eye exam for good reason. You might not have you might not be symptomatic or be having an active symptom of a problem, but I can't tell you how many times we found an asymptomatic sight-threatening or life-threatening problem in an eye, and someone that was asymptomatic or didn't even know anything was going on. So everybody that comes in for a routine eye exam is going to get their pupils dilated every time.
And just be aware of that too, because when you do get them dilated, you'll give glasses, but you will be more sensitive to light for a period of time.
It makes your pupil dilate, so the more light gets in your eye, which is the whole purpose of dilating your eye, so we can see inside there. So you will be light sensitive when you leave, and we will give you some sunglasses. If you're young, it'll affect your near vision if you're not nearsighted. And if you're farsighted, it will make you a little more incapacitated than if you're not farsighted. So if you have had your pupils dilated and are uncomfortable driving a car with your pupils dilated, make sure that you bring a driver, and make sure you don't schedule your appointment and expect to go back to work and see real well. So that's important, and don't schedule it right before a big baseball game or basketball game or something that the kids are playing in, or the afternoon before a big test they have to study for, because we do have to do that as part of the exam, and we expect that you're going to schedule accordingly.
Yes. How long does it normally take for the eyes to adjust back to their normal size?
It depends on the drop that's used to dilate your pupil, but the normal drop that we use, it's about 3 to 4 hours. Darker colored pupils and brown pupils tend to take a little bit more to dilate, and then the drop tends to wear off a little quicker. Blue pupils or light colored pupils tend to dilate a little better with less drops, and it takes longer for it to wear off. And that's because the blue eyes or the light colored eyes don't have as much pigment to absorb the dilation drop, so more of it goes to the dilator muscle. So they dilate faster, and then it takes a little longer to wear off. Whereas some of the dilating drops get absorbed by pigment in a darker colored or heavily pigmented eye, and so it takes a little bit longer to get it dilated, but then it wears off a little quicker too. So just a little anatomical trivia there.
Now, for exams, how often should somebody get an exam, and does it vary by age?
It does vary by age, and it also varies by situation and what your instances are. All diabetics need a routine dilated eye exam every year. Some diabetics need one more than a year, but all diabetics every year. Developing kids, generally about once a year. You want your first eye exam sometime before you're 2 years old. Now, and you're going to know that a 2-year-old eye exam is very different than an eye exam done on a 5-year-old. But we want to make sure we want to catch those strabismuses, anisometropias, high refractive errors, and health problems. We want to catch those early in kids, because the sooner we intervene, the less chance they end up with an amblyopic or a lazy eye. Kids who are actively wearing prescriptions, definitely once a year. Some kids who are healthy, that are kind of emmetropic or plano, maybe they could get by every 2 years, and there's some that don't. When you get into your young adult years, some of those young adults can go every 2 years if they're healthy, they don't have any vision problems, don't wear glasses, don't wear contacts. Contact lens wearers every year. So if you have an active vision problem, we're going to say every year. If you're a child and growing and changing, we're probably still going to recommend every year. If you're a young adult between your 20s and your 40s and you really aren't changing or growing that much, you can probably, and you're healthy and don't have any problems, you can probably get away with every other year. Once you get back up over 40 again, we're going to start recommending once a year again.
And for the exam, is there anything that people need to do to prepare before they come?
Just know that bring your list of medications, bring a good health history. We need to know who your primary care physician is. Bring your insurance information. Lots of times folks will come in and they just expect the staff to know what their insurance is and what their coverage is. It's your responsibility to know what your insurance is and what your coverage is. And it really works out better if you can get that information to the staff. When you schedule your appointment, they can get in, and then we'll have time to look to make sure that your coverage is active, and they'll be able to look up your benefits and find out what your benefits are. If you come in and you have your exam, and you come in for your exam and don't know your insurance, or don't have that information available, or they weren't able to call ahead to get your authorization and find out your eligibility, you will be expected to be a private pay and be expected to pay at that time of the visit. So just that insurance information is really important. If you can get that to the staff, they are more than happy to find out what your benefits are and help you find out what you are and what your coverage is. But it's not magic. You know, they do know a lot, but they don't know everything, and they don't, they have to know what your numbers are, and
to make it all work.
And to make it all work. They need date of birth of the person who has the policy, who's covered under the policy, who took the policy out, and his date of birth, social security numbers, and that information. The more you can give and help the staff, again, they're more than happy to help you with that, and they do know a lot about getting around and finding out what your coverage is, but don't expect them to be able to do it right then at the time of your visit. All that information needs to be ahead of time. So bring your health information, your medication information, your allergy information, your insurance information. Know your pupils are probably going to be dilated, and expect that and schedule accordingly for that.
And how much time for the actual exam itself should they schedule?
Expect to be here about an hour. If you have all that information ahead of time, things can go pretty smooth and you can get in and out of here. If they have to spend the first 30 minutes of your appointment looking up your insurance, you can see where that takes us. And if you think about 30 people a day doing that, that can really mess up the schedule. So bring that information, and again, if you can give it all the day that you schedule, they try and have all that information lined up, so when you walk in the door, they're ready to take you back and ready to go. Come 15 or 20 minutes before your appointment. You come right at your appointment time, and they have to spend all that time getting it. Again, that puts the schedule behind. Or if you come 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes after your appointment time, that just messes. Not only does it mess up your schedule, but it messes up everybody else that's on the schedule there too. So just try and be prepared, and it'll help the staff get you back sooner. It'll help the doctor if you have that information. The doctor will have the information that either if it's me or Dr. Scone or the other Dr. Scone or Dr. Taylor, if we have all that information up ahead of time, things can go a lot smoother.
Okay. And again, that's just some information because it is Healthy Vision Month, and we want to make sure everybody does have healthy vision. So if you have not had an exam, be sure to contact Central Kentucky Optometric Associates. Again, their offices are in Lebanon and Springfield, and you can schedule an appointment in either facility, whichever is more convenient for you, to get checked out and hopefully get your vision taken care of.
Yeah, and we have late hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we have Saturday morning hours for working folks who can't get off of work or who don't want to have to do it during the day and then go back to work with your pupils dilated. We do try and really accommodate for that. So, just call and get your appointment, and let's take care of you and keep you seeing good.
Absolutely. Again, I've been talking with Dr. Scone with Central Kentucky Optometric Associates. This has been Gary White for Channel 6, Central Kentucky Television.